ignoring the new judicial culture hinging on alternative dispute resolution, core lessons and the way forward is the title of an article I published in the Business and Financial Times BNFT on the 5th of March. In this write-up, I make two decisive points: that the intentional implementation of Section 124 of the ADR Act, together with the appointment of Dr. Kofi Sechiba Koranche as the first Executive Secretary of the Ghana ADR Center, is the way forward. In this presentation, Dr. Sechiba details his leadership vision for the Ghana ADR Center and also shares some of the opportunities, the prospects and counsels for the law student. Seek and stay tuned. Trust that his presentation would be a blessing to you.
My name is Dr. Francis Kofi Koranche Sechi. I'm a legal professional. I just had my appointment as Executive Secretary for the Alternative Dispute Resolution Center, the National Center. Prior to this appointment, I've worked in the private and the public sector. Basically, I'm a professional teacher. And in the last 5 years, I've been teaching at the university and at the Faculty of Law at both the University of Cape Coast and the University of Ghana School of Law. And I've risen to the position of a senior lecturer in law. But currently, like I said, I have just been appointed as the first or the inaugural Executive Secretary of the ADR Center in Ghana. And that comes with some challenges and opportunities. I am a legal professional, but not in active practice or professional practice in Ghana. I only consult in law. So I've been working for some organization, the Bank of Ghana, the DBG Bank, and the World Bank, basically in trade and investments. That is where my expertise are. And in the ADR sector, because I have researched, written, taught in ADR, and also part of the first board that was inaugurated by President Akufo-Addo 2 years ago for the ADR Center. That is also an area that I have also made some, or had some experience. So for the legal profession in Ghana, there are a lot of prospects and which we are trying to educate our students on how to take advantage of the various prospects in the legal profession, apart from practice, teaching, advocacy, and so on and so forth. So my interest in the law basically is teaching, consulting, and then also mentoring my students in getting the best of the legal profession. I started my legal professional training or education from the University of Cape Coast and to the University of Pretoria in South Africa, where I did my Masters in Law in Trade and Investments. And I must say that I was inspired, especially into going to trade and investments, by Honorable Jogati, who was my lecturer in trade and investment law, University of Cape Coast. I must say at the time, in fact, I was the only person who did trade and investment law together. Most of my colleagues who did the trade, the first semester dropped because they didn't find it interesting. So I was the only person that did a trade and investments, and I got a lot of encouragement from Honorable Jogata at the time to pursue the trade and investment law further. Hence, in 2018, I actually got a full scholarship to do commercial law, Masters in Commercial Law at the University of Johannesburg, but I declined because I wanted to do the trade and investment law, which I pursued at the University of Pretoria. And the University of Pretoria Faculty of Law is Africa's best faculty, for many years, and the Times Higher rating. So that opportunity I seized. And of course, when I came back from South Africa, I got opportunity to go into consultancy, and then I also had my first appointment in 2020 as a full-time lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law. Then my dean was Professor Peter Atupari, who is incidentally the dean of the University of Ghana Law School now. So he mentored me as to how I would navigate the legal profession, and I have not regretted. So in 2020, when I enrolled on the PhD law program at the University of Ghana, it was very challenging for me, but I took up the challenge and then worked my way out and managed to complete the PhD in law in a record 4 years. In record 4 years, which is also something that I'm very proud of. Now, I tell my students often that the legal profession is very broad in terms of specialization. The law is not just the core courses that we do at the what you call the substantive law at the faculties. At the faculties is where you try to specialize the courses and the programs that are of interest to you. And I see that most students want to do, for example, the elective courses that they think that are easy for them to get the A's and the B plus so that they can get their best classes, first class, second class, upper. But they're actually not programs that they are interested in, and they would want to pursue, or they would want to make good life out of it. So they become, I call them general lawyers, practice everything, every case. They cannot actually be grounded in anything. They cannot be called or be mentioned in any specific specialty. So they are general practice, like a general practice of medicine, But at the time, you must find your feet and be authority, as we say, authority in the area. And by God's grace, I managed, or I was assisted to find my feet area, even at the faculty where I was doing my LLB at the University of Cape Coast. That is why right from my LLB, I went straight to do my LLM and came back into the academia to teach. And now I find myself as a scholar of the law with the highest or the terminal degree of PhD in law. That is to say that I always tell my students that start identifying your strength and the interest in the law and catch something for yourself. Now to the ADR Center, which I have been mandated to head, is one of the areas, or ADR is one of the areas that is very broad. I wouldn't use the word to say lucrative, because to make something lucrative is your own effort. But students who are interested in doing ADR, I would encourage them, because ADR is very, very broad area of practice. And for many lawyers who are into practice and who are into advocacy, they only come into contact with ADR when they come for what we call the court-connected ADR, where cases are referenced or referred by the judges for mediation and arbitration, and the lawyers are allowed to have encounter. But I will encourage students of law and the legal profession to explore the ADR fraternity, because ADR is not just about arbitration or mediation, it's broad. negotiation, conciliation, a lot goes in. And not just for the money, like I said, but it's for how to have a gravitas and make impact in the legal profession. And as we speak, we have a lot of students of law and people who have been trained and taught and given various certificates in ADR in Ghana. And to the extent that our universities are even producing students graduate with masters in law, and even some are even doing ADR related theses in PhD level, at the PhD level. So it means that we have a number of students or graduates in ADR who are trying to find their feet and where to fit in ADR. And I must say that ADR is one of the broadest areas of practice in the law, which is not the traditional way of litigating or traditional way of resolving disputes. But the issue is that some people think that ADR is just about mediation and just about talking to people. It needs a lot. It needs a lot of personality, a lot of insight, a lot of learning for you to be able to become a very efficient and effective ADR practitioner. So that also must be made clear that if you want to enter into the ADR sector, you must also have the personality and the interest, and then you should also have the charisma to be an ADR practitioner, the patience, to be ADR, and it must reflect in your personality. Otherwise, you will never find it interesting because it takes time, it takes patience, it takes a lot of things to be an ADR practitioner. So it's not just about getting into be an ADR practitioner or lawyer and thinking that you're going to get money just by entering or just by being part of it. So I would encourage students of the law and those in the legal profession to explore the ADR sector or the opportunities there out of interest, out of goodwill, out of the love for peace, out of the love for harmony, social cohesion, that they will find their gravitas and have the enthusiasm to stay. Otherwise, they will not be happy being in that sector. So the ADR has a lot of opportunities, and I must emphasize that. And as the chief executive of the center, we are going to take opportunity to train and retrain and let students and graduates know the various opportunities and the various avenues to explore or to practice in ADR. I must tell you that in Ghana here, there are over, if you take the chieftaincy, I'm not saying that we want to encourage dispute, but a lot of dispute that needs resolution through the ADR mechanisms, what we call the ADR tools or mechanisms. And that alone can offer a lot of opportunities for graduates or legal professionals. And just that's the domestic ADR sector. There are international ADR opportunities that comes and with trade, transport, maritime, aviation, everywhere, there are dispute and conflict that need to be resolved. And the traditional court processes are not sufficient to resolve many of the disputes through that means. That is why the ADR is a catch word or catch epithet now when it comes to dispute resolution. Not because it is lucrative, but because it keeps you going, it keeps you as a legal professional or as a lawyer, it keeps you relevant. And that is the key word. It keeps you relevant and gives you the impact. You make some impact in society from your learning. After learning the law and being, unknown to the public, or your services not being relevant to the public, it's almost like doing nothing for yourself. You must always find something important to do in order to be relevant to the society. So that is how I would encourage my students, and generally all students of law, if it's possible, if they have the interest, and I emphasize that so much, interest, not because some other persons are doing it. I want to encourage students of the law to pursue the ADR side of the law, and that will be beneficial to them and to Ghana. And my office, like I said, is going to coordinate and register, certify institutions that are training the professionals in ADR, because ADR is not only for lawyers. There are professional ADR practitioners, mediators, arbitrators who are trained outside the law cohorts. So there's a competition also there, to get in. You must also learn the tenets and the rubrics and the inside of ADR before you can practice effectively. Not just being a lawyer, it does not guarantee that you can be an effective ADR practitioner. You need to learn, take extra learning, extra tuition, invest before you can become effective and very good ADR practitioner.